Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2 podcast with your host, that is me, Michael E. Cullen II, and my co-host, as always, is Matthew Haas.
Hello.
That was very assertive.
Good to be here.
I'm glad you're here, too.
Hello, audience.
I think they heard you the first time.
Glad you're here. Sorry, I'm getting used to this.
Okay, Matt. We're good. Okay, anyways, today on the show, we're going to continue our little delve into direct-to-video sequels to more popular films. This time, we're talking about the third movie in a series, in a trilogy of movies in the Honey brand. No, I'm not talking about the Honey, like the movie with dancing and Jessica Alba and whatnot. I'm talking about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Okay, so that's the series we're talking about. It was followed theatrically by the movie Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. And then Disney decided, hey, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid didn't do as good in the theaters as we hoped it would. So we're going to take a little break. And then a few years later, they decided to release direct-to-DVD or VHS at the time. In 1997, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. Because...
Why not?
Wayne Szalinski, played by Rick Moranis, is such a brilliant scientist that not only did he shrink his kids once, He then went on to blow up his other kid.
Not explosives.
No, but made him big.
Yeah.
And then, after that, was so smart that he shrunk himself, his brother, his wife, and his sister-in-law. Very smart, right, Matt?
Yeah, all of this, mind you, because he was trying to shrink a Tiki Man statue that was an eyesore
in this one, yes.
And then he accidentally
shrunk his brother and him.
And it's funny because his brother literally even says, "I think the thing's powering up again." He goes, "Oh no, it's not happening." So it's like
he's very smart.
Very smart. I actually would add a subtitle to this movie called "Honey, We Shrunk Our Paychecks," but
yeah.
Yeah,
we shrunk the paycheck for the whole movie.
Yeah,
for everyone involved. Okay, so let's get into the brass tacks here for this. Okay, all right. So, like I said, it was a 1997 direct-to-video sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. It is the third and final installment in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids trilogy. It's also the directorial debut of cinematographer Dean Cundey. Or Cundey. I don't know how you say his last name, but it's Cundey. I heard it pronounced both ways. Anyways, he is known as the cinematographer for films like Halloween and other John Carpenter films, and a lot of really good cinematography in films. I can't remember off the top of my head a lot of them. Let me see if we can find here really quick what else he's done. He's done a lot of collaborations with John Carpenter, Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis. He was he won an Academy Award for Best Cinematography for his work on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I can't talk. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And he's been nominated like various times. He's now 72 years old. I don't know, so that would have made him in his 50s back then when he did this film. He's, really good cinematographer. But Ray Stella, the cinematographer of this film, not quite sure if he's as good as Dean Cundey, but he might be okay now. But this is the only thing I can find that he did. So it was obviously shot. It was shot direct to video. So it was shot in the old school. Okay, here you go, kids. If you didn't know this, back in the day, televisions were square and not rectangle.
right.
So, if you didn't know that, the aspect ratio of a screen would be more square at a 4:3 as opposed to the 1080p and the 720p and all that stuff that we're used to nowadays, and the 1:1 and all that different things. There was different aspect ratio back then that would fit your television. So this was made basically directly for VHS at the time, because not a lot of people had DVDs even in 1997.
Right.
It was made in a TV format, as opposed to the other two films, which are in a cinema format, which is more rectangular. So if you do end up watching this, which I recommend you do before you listen to this, so if you haven't watched it yet, stop the podcast right now. And we can wait for them, right, Matt?
For the whole movie?
Yeah, we're just going to wait here for like a couple hours.
The movie's actually quite short.
It's actually like 75 minutes.
Yes.
So it's really fast.
Short for a movie.
So I tell you what, folks. We're not actually going to wait for you. We're just going to, let you pause this.
Yeah.
You can come back to us.
Yeah.
We'll still be here.
You really should not listen to our podcast first. For Honey,
unless you never plan to watch this movie.
I guess you can listen to us rant about it. It's not that great of a movie in my opinion. So
your life is not going to be greatly enhanced by watching this.
Either way whatsoever. You're going to be ambivalent at best.
Yeah. It's kind of like, how they always say, like, if you have Chinese food and then like an hour later you're hungry? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I felt after watching this movie.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't that much like culturally fulfilled. I was like,
I almost wanted to go back and watch the original.
Yeah.
Just to feel a little bit better. But I didn't. Anyways. Okay, I digress.
That's
a
lot. That's a good explanation for the younger listeners, because they might not know. Like for example, that's why if you watch like old TV shows like on Netflix, and it's all like a square. That's the reason
you get
why
the black bars on the side of it.
That's the reason why. Is because if you notice too, you might watch a show that started off like that, like Scrubs, for example,
and then moved into
season,
a wider screen format.
Yeah, in the first season it's square, and I think by the third season everything is full. Like, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Scrubs was actually one of the first shows to ever shoot in HD.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Little randomness.
That's cool. So
anyways,
that's a good explanation for about that.
Okay, so let's get to the plot here. First off, maybe we should talk about who stars in this movie first. Okay, the only returning actor from any of the previous films is Rick Moranis as Wayne Zelinsky, a scientist at Zelinsky Labs, which he now owns. Before he was like worked for somebody in the other films. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the other two, honestly. So, and I honestly don't really care for the second one at all.
Yeah.
So, I actually like this one better than the second one, which is weird. Maybe I just like it when you shrink things. I don't really like it when you make things big.
Yeah.
But okay, Rick Moranis was there. You also have his wife is returning, but she looks different. In the first movie, she was played by Marcia Strassman, and in the second movie as well. And now she's played by Eve Gordon. I'm not sure. Maybe part of that shrinking paycheck thing, they couldn't afford Marcia Strassman anymore. I don't know. Eve Gordon's done a lot of stuff too, but prior to this, she really hadn't done much. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, sadly, this was when we're at a time where the what they call the Brechtel test, which you would put onto a film to register how great the female characters in a story are. You know, you can put that on a film or a book or anything like that. Basically, how strong they are and stuff like that. Back then, pretty much women were regulated to wives and girlfriends.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, so unfortunately, the character of Diane is pretty just interchangeable. You could put any actress in that role, and it really wouldn't matter. She's a little stronger in this movie, I think, than the other ones. I mean, she was always kind of a strong character, but it's just, I don't know. I'm just saying that it kind of sucks that they recast her because I like continuity, but
what are you gonna do? It's direct to video. You could say though that this movie about being shrunk blew up her career because he said she didn't do much before this movie. So, and then later on, she did a bunch of stuff. I was trying to do
All right, we're done, folks. No, I'm joking. No. I'm no longer doing podcasts. No, I'm joking. Anyways, that was good. That you know, I think your sense of humor is growing.
Ooh.
That was bad. Anyways, okay, so then we also have the character of Adam returning, who is the son that they blew up in the second movie. You know, made big, not blew up.
Right.
I hated that title.
It's a weird title, yeah.
But I guess it is kind of like blowing up, like when you blow up a balloon,
right.
more than when you like blow up a building. This time he's now played as a preteen by Bug Hall, who kids and adults alike might know from the Little Rascals movie that they made in the 90s. He played Alfalfa. Obviously, he's not the original Alfalfa, but because he died a long time ago under mysterious circumstances. Anyways, we'll get into that some other time. So basically, let's get to the plot here, Matt. Do you remember much of the plot? Like, I'll have you try to explain this to us.
Basically, I think it was like he's got his own lab now, and was supposed to be doing this conference or doing this big presentation, and didn't really go so well. And then his wife had a vacation scheduled, and she was going to go with her
sister-in-law.
With her sister-in-law, and he was basically going to watch the kids. That was the plan, at least. And then she demanded that he get rid of his Tiki Man statue because it was such an eyesore while she was gone. So then he got the idea to shrink it so that he could have it, because he believed it was like a good luck charm to him, and he wanted to respect the religious nature of it, so he didn't want to just get rid of it. So he shrunk it, and that worked, but then his brother was there too or something, and
his brother works at the company.
Yeah, his brother works. Yeah, and then his brother was there, told him not to do it because he was actually forbidden to use that machine ever again by like the FDA, which is,
but there was a committee that involved the FDA and his wife.
Which I'm not sure what the Food and Drug Administration has to do with the shrinking machine. I don't know why.
I think it was the FDA. I don't know. Maybe it was some other.
No, they said FDA.
Did they say FDA?
It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would they have any regulation over a shrinking machine? It's got nothing to do with food or drugs. But whatever.
Unless you're shrinking food and drugs.
But why would you?
I don't know.
Why would you want to do that? Here, I'm going to shrink my food and make it less.
I think one of his ideas, his original idea for the machine in the first movie, if I'm remembering correctly, was something about the fact that he could enlarge the size of food with it. Even though it was a shrinking ray, but I guess it was a size ray thing, and he could make, and maybe that was in the second movie or something like that, where you could take like a watermelon and make it really huge, and then a lot of people could have watermelon.
Okay, I got you. So that way you would have to spend less money on food. Okay, all right, that makes sense. All right, I guess that makes sense why the FDA was telling him they can't do it. Okay, so his brother says no, don't do it, but he does it anyways. Oh wow, it works. So they're like all excited about it, trying to find the Tiki Man because it was so tiny. And then they were right in the the square area where the machine shoots at, and then his brother says literally, "Oh, I think it's powering up again," because you can quite clearly hear that it's powering up. It makes the same exact sound as it does right before it shoots something. And then Rick Moranis' character, a genius by the way, supposedly, oh no, it won't do anything unless you hit the button.
It seems like he gets stupider by each movie.
He does. He gets dumber by each, and then, like, just conveniently, there's, like, a bunch of, billiard balls that are just by the area, and it's got this little lever or something.
Yeah, it's like a croquet mallet gets knocked over and knocks one of the balls onto the machine.
Yeah.
And then it sets off the button. The machine looks different, by the way, than it did in the other movies. It didn't have that whole little Rube Goldberg sort of... apparatus on the top that that seemed to fit a billiard ball perfectly, so it could go down and hit the button to turn it on.
Right.
It just seemed like very convenient.
Yeah, very, or inconvenient.
Yes,
for that matter.
But so basically, I mean, what you're saying then they end up shrunk. Mm. Hey, folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All Too Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So it
was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way. Anyways, so sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye. Speed things forward a little bit. They end up shrunk. The Diane and her sister-in-law Patty, played by Robin Bartlett from Mad About You, among other things, come back from they're on their way to their vacation. They come back because first off, the reason that they were running late to begin with. Okay, I want to point this out. The reason that Patty and Gordon, who is played by Stuart Penkin, who is known to a lot of kids for being the voice of the father on the Dinosaurs TV series.
Known to a lot of kids, yeah.
Yes.
It's a very popular show.
Known to a lot of kids in their 30s and stuff. Yeah, but anyways, they were running late to get there because the idea was that Gordon and Wayne were going to watch the kids for the weekend, and Patty and Gordon have 2 kids as well. Jenny, played by Smallville's Allison Mack, and Mitch, played by an actor named Jake Richardson. And anyways, Mitch has this issue where I can't remember the name of the issue, but it's something where he has low potassium.
Yeah.
And he needs to take medicine for it or he'll die.
Wow.
They basically say that he will die if he doesn't take this medicine or get the right amount of potassium that he needs.
I didn't know you could die from lack of potassium.
I'm just saying what they said.
I can tell you get sick and get tired, sure, but I didn't know you could.
But
die
I guess he could die because it's if he goes into a coma
that
or
low.
something.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyways, so they come back because of the first when they arrived at the house to go on this vacation that Patty and Diane are going on. The reason that they're running late and overreacting Patty, because Patty just seems to be nervous about everything.
Yeah, she's very anxious.
Yeah. The reason she was running late is because they almost forgot Mitch's medicine. That's why they were running late to get to Wayne's house.
Then they left it in the car.
And then they left it in the car, even though that was the reason she was running late
in the first place. Then they had to go
I'm pretty
back.
sure that I would make sure after that, but then we wouldn't have a plot,
Right.
And
Right. So they had to go back
to leave the medicine there, and in the meantime, the kids are gone because they think that they're left alone because at this point they found money for pizza. And they heard a message that Wayne had left earlier about going to see some kind of spaceship launch or something.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Then they went to buy snacks and stuff.
So they went to buy snacks and stuff with the pizza, and then Jenny decides to invite a bunch of her girlfriends over. Who it's really weird if you listen to the phone call at that point. The girl on the other line, you can actually hear what she's saying, and I had to rewind it a couple times to listen to this. But she says something about "you'll never believe my underwear," which is really weird for a couple of 12-year-olds to be talking about. Anyways, I'm just saying. Okay. I listened to it and I was like, "Did I hear her just say underwear?"
She actually say that
on the other line. That's what it said.
You'll never believe my underwear,
or something of that nature. I don't know the exact line, but it was something about her underwear, and I just found that really kind of creepy. Yeah. Anyways,
maybe it was something that. It was like inside joke or something. I don't know.
Or foreshadowing to the future of Allison Mack's life. Anyways,
maybe.
We'll get into that in a little bit here.
Yeah. That's the real agenda of this podcast.
Yes,
is to launch into something else.
But anyways, but anyways, they decide to have this party or whatever. But in the meantime, they leave. The wives come back. They say, "Oh, the kids will know we're here because the car's in the driveway." Mm-hmm. But because Patty's so, I don't know, has a lot of neuroses and stuff, she decides to. Normally, she puts blocks behind the car because she's afraid of something with the parking brake not happening. The car, of course, she forgets to put the parking brake on there. The car goes.
Yeah, this time she forgets to put the brake the one time.
Yeah,
and then the car
the car goes into the neighbor's yard,
which is still
right in front of the kids as they're coming back.
But that's the other thing. Okay, there's no car in the driveway. Fine, the car is literally across the street's driveway, facing them.
Yeah,
At what
but
point,
the kids are like
out,
skating right in front of it when they're coming back from the carryout or wherever they got their snacks. And
yeah,
shit.
they didn't even see that. My point is though, is that at what point someone's going to look out the window at some point and they're going to see, hey, what's my mom's car just standing?
Unless everybody has a station wagon that looks exactly like that. Yeah. But anyways, when they came back, they put the medicine on the counter in front of the very strategically placed Trick cereal box that is like advertising.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much product placement.
Oh
in this
yeah,
movie
I know,
that
it's
hilarious.
ridiculous.
Anyways, I guess they got like General Mills and some other people to donate a lot of money to this movie so they could actually have a little bit bigger budget.
Yeah.
I just imagine this movie with a lower budget than what it already had.
Right.
I mean, mind you, I would love to have the budget they had for this movie. I could make a decent movie.
Yeah.
But but anyways, so they go up and they're looking for Wayne and Gordon, and they get shrunk.
They get shrunk. I forgot, how did they get shrunk?
Another one of those billiard balls falls.
Are you kidding me?
No.
I forgot about that. So the same exact
thing happened.
God, but why? What made it fall?
I guess the machine getting to critical mass would shake the building, and then it knocks off one of these billiard balls that's near a croquet mallet of some
sort.
Why
did he even have those near? I don't even get it. Was he playing with the croquet mallet while he was doing stuff with?
I mean, whenever I have a shrinking machine, I always make sure that I have a shelf right near it with billiard balls on it. It's just this weird thing that us scientists like to do. Yeah, I'm a scientist, by the way. Did you know
keep
that?
saying billiard balls. They're croquet balls, right?
They're probably croquet balls, but they look like they look. I couldn't tell though if they were croquet because I never played croquet.
It's
but
just like a the balls.
But I think they're pretty similar balls, anyways.
They're like whatever.
Whatever kind of balls they were.
Yeah.
You got to keep those near your shrinking machine.
Well,
it's required by federal law.
Yeah.
In movies. No, and
right.
I don't know why the hell they were there.
So the same thing happens.
They get shrunk.
Okay, wow.
And then Diane gets mad because she realizes that Wayne was just using the machine even though he wasn't supposed to shrink the freaking Tiki Man.
Right, because that was right
she
there.
was mad about this Tiki Man.
Right.
My thing is, it's like, let the dude have some fun. He wants a Tiki Man.
It's like, let him have something stupid that he likes. I mean, it's not stupid, but just the way it looks dumb in a house like that, just sitting there. But so what happens then? I forgot. They're trying to find.
They climb up a wicker chair.
I forgot for what reason. Oh, to let the kids know they're shrunk. Yeah,
and to try to get outside, and they get down. They take a fishing line down to the next floor.
Right.
And then they end up in Adam's bedroom.
Okay, yeah, now I remember. And then they find the Sports Illustrated magazine.
Yeah, like the kids come in there and they're looking at a magazine, and it's kind of almost implied that they're looking at something like Playboy or something.
Right.
Or like even a Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, but it was actually Sports Illustrated for kids.
Just regular
But the way the kids were getting excited was almost like they were like, ooh, look at these dirty pictures.
Yeah, I know.
And then, it's like a picture with some basketball player on the front. I think it was either like Shaq or Michael Jordan or somebody on the cover, whoever was popular at that time. But it's just
and that was because Rick Moranis' character's son wanted to play baseball and sports. He wasn't really as into science.
He wanted to go to baseball camp instead of science camp.
And his dad was like, "Well, no, you love science. It's like I gotta make you do what I like. Just just as
which is nothing like he was in the other movies because he seemed to be very supportive of his kids. In my opinion, it just I watched him not too long ago, but it's still been a while. But anyways,
so they find that, and then they go downstairs. They find themselves in the kitchen at some point, and there's they get down through they're riding in another product placement. A Hot Wheels car. That's right, the Hot Wheels car.
down on this Hot Wheels track where there's as they're going down this Hot Wheels track, which ends up being kind of like riding a like a roller coaster for them. There's some inconsistencies where the background is actually what's in the front of them.
Oh,
there's just different like they.
Wow.
There's some inconsistencies there, but anyways, they end up flying into the laundry chute, down into a laundry basket in the in the basement, and they had these like orthodontic like rubber bands around around them to protect themselves inside the car that just totally disappeared and never appear again. I just had to point that out because there's different I can go through a lot of the mistakes later on in this talk. This is very important, folks.
Yeah, very important to point out all these mistakes.
Yeah. But yeah, they end up there and they go through a bunch of crap where they're trying to, including crap of roach crap. And
that's right. Yeah, I remember that. And,
I don't know. They
had to escape the roach because. Yeah. And then I know at one point
they end up back upstairs because they're in the that's where they find the roach, I think, is upstairs, because they end up back upstairs because the kids bring the laundry up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because, kids are actually doing something. Like, my thing is you got a bunch of kids coming over. The last thing I'm thinking about is grabbing the laundry basket.
Those are very good kids that are doing chores while their parents aren't even home. Wow.
Yeah. But they had already made like a chili volcano and stuff
That's
like
right,
that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So what happens, they get separate. At some point, they separate voluntarily.
Yeah,
right?
they take the way they get back downstairs is through there's a bubble machine that one of the girls, because these girls come over that are friends of Jenny's to have a little slumber party sort of thing. These girls, including one of them who is played by very, very young Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
Prior to that 70s show.
Yeah.
She plays her friend Jill. Anyways, I don't know. One of the girls brings a bubble machine because no party is complete without a bubble machine.
No, it's not.
And
it really isn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, every party I've ever been to and there isn't a bubble machine, I walk right out.
I mean, I would.
Yeah, I walk right into the house and I'm like, "Hey, do you have a bubble machine?"
And they say no.
They say no, and
sorry,
I'm like,
bail.
yeah. They're like, "Hey, we got a live band." I was like, "I don't care. No bubble machine. I'm not staying."
Right.
Like, we got all the food you want and everything. Nope. No bubble machine. I'm not staying.
It did look pretty cool, though.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it looked like a really.
I'm being serious here. I mean, I never stay at parties without bubble machines. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm known as the bubble machine guy. Anyways, so they have this bubble machine. It's up on the stairway or something like that, and the way that they get down is Diane and Patty get into they go into one of the bubbles.
Yeah.
Through the machine, and then they land safely onto the ground. Wayne and Gordon get into another bubble. Okay, nothing against Gordon. He's a big dude. I can understand it holding the two kind of, lighter weight women. But Gordon and Wayne.
But they're so tiny, though.
I guess it would.
I mean, like,
I don't know.
Probably the size
it just
of
seems like
ants or something like that. I mean,
I just don't even know if an ant could stay inside of a bubble. I don't know how that works. I don't know the science behind this.
It probably is no science behind it. It's probably just something they did. So yeah, they end up almost getting into the ceiling fan, right?
It's like a chandelier. Or something. And they get and the bubble pops at the same point that somebody's walking by with a bowl of onion dip.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this funny line that's like such a sexist line in this movie. So they're like, "Oh well, don't worry, we'll be okay. It's just a bunch of teenage girls. How much can they eat?"
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. So you're.
Well, I don't know if that was necessarily
anorexia to teenage girls that they can't eat. Like,
I don't know if that means that. I mean, it might just be because they're small.
No, it means what I say it means.
Okay, it's sexist.
It was a sexist
we'll go with that.
agenda. No, anyway, so
because this movie has a very feminist
we're
agenda
talk
later.
About this later. Okay. This is very ironic too, extremely ironic. But
we'll get to that soon.
I'm like itching to get to that part. All right, but so they of course dig into the dip and they're trying to make sure they don't get eaten.
Yeah, it's very similar to, like, in the first movie, there was a scene where Nikki was in a bowl of, like, Cheerios or something. And,
that's right. I remember
or Oreos or something, because they didn't actually use product names in that movie. But this one...
They didn't need to.
We have Honey Nut Cheerios. We have Trix. We have Diet Coke. We have...
It was a lot. I think Cheetos played a part at some point.
We had, like, a Save-On drugstore on the bottle for the kids' medicine. Everything.
Right.
We had...
I think Costco was in there too at one point. The
Possibly.
bag, I think, was
it might have been.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, so they end up in the dip. They end up being okay. The girls don't eat them, of course. Because if they did, then the movie would just
Then
end.
they eat their parents. I mean, terrible.
That's another one. It's like, Mom, I ate Dad and Uncle Wayne.
The unfortunate turn. This is went in the bad way. So they get out, and then what was their next plan? Okay, their next plan was to do something with the stereo so they could make their voices amplified.
They had the idea early on that they wanted to amplify their voices, and so they go over to the Sony stereo.
Yeah, Sony, it's right.
Yeah,
And
it
then
said Sony really big on it,
Right.
but it was really small. But still,
And at this point, a couple of guys, teenagers.
some boys, like about 3 or 4 boys, come over. One of them is a boy that Jenny had been dared earlier to call and tell that she thought he was cute, and somehow that just told him that he needed to come over
to a party, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know how they knew where they were.
Yeah, whatever.
Because it wasn't at Jenny's house. This was at Adam's house.
That's
and not
right.
Jenny's.
Wow.
So I guess maybe I missed a line or
Maybe they
right.
just knew. It's,
Yeah, but the kids, Ricky King is played by an actor named JoJo Adams.
Oh.
It's the only thing I know of him from is this
cool
movie.
name.
Yeah, who had like a nice little late 90s girly hairstyle that we all had back then.
That was very popular hairstyle.
Yeah.
That sounds like a blues musician. I could see him playing like an acoustic guitar. JoJo Adams.
JoJo Adams.
Tonight in Chicago at the
House of Blues.
Something theater, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, JoJo Adams. If you're out there listening, JoJo,
Yeah.
please contact
Yeah.
us. I'd like to see what you're up to now. Now, man, I mean, you're good in the movie. You played a jerk well.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a compliment
I wanted
or
to
not,
punch you in
but-
the face, even though were a kid.
Yeah. So it worked. He's not a kid anymore. He's
No,
like in his 30s
I
now,
know.
so we're good. Okay. This was 20 years ago.
I know.
21 years ago.
I know.
Ricky is pretty much Ricky and his little friends are jerks to Adam and Mitch.
Yeah, because they're little kids. What are they doing here?
Yeah. So, we forgot to mention that I don't know where it is in here, but at one point Mitch almost dies.
Oh, that's right. Because the moms, so the women, they separate. They go to the kitchen because they're trying to make sure that the medication is seen, because it's like
It somehow got hidden, even though when they set it down on the counter in front of the Trick cereal box.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow between that and when the kids ended up into the kitchen after they went to the carryout or the grocery store or wherever the hell they got their snacks, the bottle of medicine ended up in between the box of General Mills Trix cereal and the General Mills Honey Nut Cheerios box. Yes. General Mills.
yeah,
If you would like to sponsor us, General Mills, we'd be more than happy to let you.
yeah.
Okay. Anyways, contact me at alltoorealpodcast@gmail.com. alltooreal2podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so they can't find the medicine. Mitch sees his mom and his aunt like little.
That's right.
On the
He
counter.
tells them that, but
And then he faints.
he's having an episode, so they think
Yeah.
he was like hallucinating.
Yeah.
and then
So he faints, and then Adam surprisingly remembers that bananas have potassium in them. And so they feed him bananas, and somehow that saves his life.
oh yeah, I love this scene because like, how did you know that? And it's like, oh well, I didn't say I never listened to my dad talking about science. I'm like, you had to listen to your.
I learned that in
genius
health
dad.
class.
I mean,
I don't
the
know.
fact that bananas have potassium, that shouldn't have been learned because your dad is a scientific genius. For one thing, what does that have to do? Was he a food scientist? What does that have to do with?
Well, the FDA was involved,
yeah,
so
I
maybe
guess
he is
so.
a food scientist.
I guess so.
I don't know.
So anyway,
So anyways, I mean, I can't remember if that happened, if that scene happened before or after the scene we want to talk about.
I don't remember. Well, no, it happened.
Was it before or after the boys left?
Who knows?
No. Oh, it had to.
It
Oh,
happened before.
oh, it had to have been before because the reason that they left was because of the Sony thing.
Sony-
yeah. Okay. Anyways, we're getting off track here. So the that happens. Anyways, Diane and Patty are still hanging out on the counter or whatever. And then we go back into the room with the kids at some point. After, Mitch is miraculously saved by Adam.
By like 2 bites of a banana.
Yeah.
Which means maybe he doesn't need medicine at a store if just 2 bites of a banana can resurrect him and just give him bananas.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this could be a serious disease that we don't know anything about. I don't know. I'm just saying.
You're making fun of it.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Really
there could be somebody listening out there who really has this issue and is happy that a movie addressed it.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't want to belittle anything.
Right.
I'm just saying. My thing is like, because but the other thing is too, it's like, okay, there's a weird message in this movie too about not a weird message, but there's like, okay, Mitch is like, his way of being a badass is not taking his medicine.
Yeah.
I understand kids don't like to take medicine or something, but if it's gonna save my life,
right,
I would take it. Not really. I mean, and plus the thing is, it must have been something that he's done for years and was just used to. But he says at one point, he's like, I don't even think I need it anymore. Because he all of a sudden is a doctor and knows that he doesn't need it. Yeah.
It works too well. It means I can quit. The medicine does its job, which means
that's the problem with a lot
it.
of people is like if the doctor says, hey, make sure you take this all the time, but you start feeling better and then you stop taking it because you're starting to feel better.
But you feel better because
you took
taking it.
Yeah, so
whatever.
I'm just saying a lot of people do that. And I mean,
chicken and egg.
Yes. Okay, so all right, so at one point, good old, what's his name? Ricky King, played by JoJo Adams.
Yep.
Decides to try to get it on with Jenny. Yeah. He tells her that he wants to talk to her in the kitchen.
Yeah, alone.
Because you know what wanting to talk to somebody in the kitchen means.
In a party, yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I'm at a party, that just means... Oh, I mean, of course, it has to be a party with a bubble machine.
You're not at much at parties because most of them don't have bubble machines.
But anytime they've been at a bubble machine and somebody wants to talk to me in the kitchen, it's usually just that somebody wants to talk to me in the kitchen. Anyways,
about bubble machines.
Yeah, about bubble machines. And, usually, I mean, sometimes if I stay at a party that doesn't have bubble machines, they just want to pull me into the kitchen to ask me why I'm freaking out that we don't have bubble machines. Right. And they're like, Mike, you're going to have to leave because, we're not going to get a bubble machine. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, but I need a damn bubble machine now. And then like, Mike, if you want a bubble machine at the party, you should bring your own bubble machine. And I'm just like, I don't have a bubble machine. And then they're like, well, maybe you should solve that and buy yourself a bubble machine. And then you can bring a bubble machine to every party you go to. And then I'd be the bubble machine guy.
Yeah.
I should look into that.
You could be the bubble machine guy.
Yes. I always wanted to be known for something.
I just carry it around everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like, here's my bubble machine. That's actually a good calling card.
Yeah.
You could be the bubble machine.
You think I could get women with that?
Probably not, but...
Okay.
you create like a sort of, legend for yourself, though, or a myth. The bubble machine guy, he just goes around everywhere he goes, takes a bubble machine, just...
It's like, hey, everybody. Mike the bubble machine guy
is here. Anyway, we're like really...
Okay, so back to the party. Okay, they're in the kitchen, and good old Ricky King decides to try to kiss Jenny.
Just lays on a big kiss on her, totally.
Yeah, and she pushes him away.
And then it goes... And this is so weird. This whole scene... Okay, so, like this whole... Like the whole nation has been like having like this conversation for the past 2 years about like consent.
And the Me Too movement
means. I mean, this whole like multifaceted debate, like just even goes beyond like, oh well, they didn't say no, so that means yes. Like no, like consent now has like meant like a very very specific like.
Which is okay. Yeah.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like this is like the conversation that's been going on for like 2 years. Okay, this exact conversation is tucked away in this 1997 direct-to-video
Disney movie,
and it's like did they have a time machine? Did they come into like 2016 first and then go back and then?
But I mean, because like her mom and her aunt are watching her do this.
Yeah.
And they're because they're little and they're on the counter, and she pushes him away and says, basically no means no, sort of thing. She doesn't. I don't know the exact dialogue. I can't remember it, but but they were really proud of her. They're like, oh, you go, Jenny.
Well, what she said was, you didn't ask me if I wanted to be kissed.
Yeah.
It was
very specific. Yeah.
And he's
language.
like, oh, well, I didn't think I had to ask if you wanted to be kissed. And all this.
And then he's something like, other girls are like that or whatever. And then she's just basically like, I'm not other girls.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm not one of them. And then so he gets all pissed off and leaves. And then him and his buddies start trashing the house then because she rejected him as punishment.
And let's go back to this to this little Me Too scene.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're going on a detour here.
Okay, this is a nice detour. Okay. If anyone has seen the news since like October of 2017 until now, you've probably heard of Nexium, not the heartburn medicine.
No.
And I don't think that's related at all to Mitch's medicine at all. No. And it was okay. The Nexium is NXIVM is how it's spelled. It is a business success program started by Keith Raniere. And it's basically a cult. And one of its prominent members / kind of leaders in the cult is Allison Mack, who played Jenny Zielinski in this movie. And Miss Mack, as I will now refer to her, has allegedly, I'm going to emphasize allegedly because I don't want to get sued. Oh, yeah, and by the way, it's allegedly a cult. I didn't say allegedly earlier. I meant to say it, and I'm going to say it now to cover my ass. Anyways, allegedly, she has been part of this cult and started a cult within the cult for women. It's supposed to be for women empowerment, called DOS, which the actual name of the thing translates loosely into something about master-slave submission or something of that nature.
Whoa. From
the original Latin that it was in. Not DOS, but what DOS is an acronym for. But anyways, they're basically a sex cult, allegedly, that have allegedly been starving women to make them perform sexual acts for Keith Raniere, as well as allegedly being branded near their genitals by a cottering iron without any kind of anesthetic in a room in a ceremony where you can smell where the other women in the room were wearing masks because they could smell the flesh burning on these women.
I mean, well, a brand. I mean, iron.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do that.
And it's not even just like like when you brand a cow.
Yeah.
It's like a brand. Like you see that where it's just like a fast. A fast brand, like where they just tap them with a thing for a second or two.
Yeah.
They're using this cottering iron, which is like a pen, and drawing the brand. Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought it was.
Yeah, no, it's
allegedly.
No, it's not
actual,
just. No, it's not like a brand.
It's like a tattoo almost.
It's almost like a tattoo because basically what she has allegedly said is that that a tattoo didn't show the commitment enough.
Oh wow. Wow,
that she thought there's some, and they're basically sitting there and it's because you can imagine like if somebody were to like just stamp your hand with a stamp,
right,
that takes 2 seconds. But if I were to take time to draw the same thing that was on that stamp with like a Bic pen or something, That's basically the difference between.
So being burned for 2 seconds isn't enough. You gotta be burned for like 12 minutes.
They said it would take a half hour to an hour to do this.
So you gotta be burned for an hour to prove your commitment.
Yeah.
And Allison Mack is allegedly the second in command of
NXIVM and the leader allegedly of this DOS, also called the VOW,
which is supposed to be like a movement within the movement.
Yeah.
I guess.
To empower women.
It was supposed to be
But somehow it's very opposite of empowering.
Because nothing says empowering woman than having a name that says master-slave submission.
Yeah, and being branded and allegedly being, made to have sex with Keith Raniere.
Right. So
if you want to look up more of this stuff, I highly recommend doing it. You can get trapped like I have in a rabbit hole for like weeks.
It's amazing
reading about this. It's very scary. I mean, a lot of you probably have heard about this, but it's just so weird that the dichotomy between this and the and that scene
in this movie. The scene comes out of nowhere,
and the scene is very women empowering.
It is. It's such a weird movie to do it though. It's just like thrown in there. I mean, it's like I come across stuff like this all the time in movies where I'm like, this scene is so good that it really deserves to be in like another.
Deserves to be in a better movie.
Because it does. Because she's like 12 years old at this point, or 13.
Yeah. And
this guy just totally lays a kiss on her, and like again, this is 1997. It was normal for movies to like, the guy's got to chase the girl and then to prove, he's just got to lay a kiss on her to really show that he's interested in her. And then,
this was like a couple years before like American Pie and stuff like that. It's not like the era of, Me Too and stuff. And then this is like, I mean, not saying that American Pie is necessarily promoting any kind of, besides with Stifler, but that's another story.
No, it's not, but it still has that same, like, gotta sow my wild oats.
The whole idea of that film is to lose their virginity sort of thing. Yeah. But this, I don't know, it's just so weird, this Me Too scene in the middle of Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
And being played out by someone who allegedly is a second in command of
a sex cult. She's been arrested. I mean, that's the other thing too. She's been arrested.
Right.
I don't know when this will air, but she's got a trial in October of 2018, a hearing or whatever. She's right now out on bail, living with her parents in California on it was like a $5 million bail.
Wow.
She's under house arrest there. And Keith Raniere's in jail as well. They wouldn't give him any bail because he's a flight risk. They were both arrested in Mexico. They had escaped to Mexico and they were brought back to the United States by it was like the FBI or somebody involved. So that's not alleged. That all actually did happen.
Yeah, that actually. So we don't have to say alleged. For
that. But so and she's. I don't know. It's just so disheartening when you see this scene and you're like, this little girl in this movie.
I know.
I know it was just a character she was playing, and people, and I mean, I'm sure though I'm sure I don't know. I mean, I don't want to presume how she's thinking, but obviously she's been brainwashed or something's going on, and I mean, her point of view on life has changed since then.
Well, she played it so sincere. That scene too.
And she was. I mean, and a lot of people are big fans of hers from Smallville. She was on that for ever. I don't know how many years that show was on. It was on like half a dozen or more years. I never watched it. I never did either.
It was on for like 8
I mean, I watched it. I watched the first season, and I remember thinking, wow, her character Chloe was cool, and she was this high school reporter who was always trying to get to the truth and all this other stuff, which is kind of ironic too. So it's just kind of funny when you go back and look at the characters she played and how like motivating and empowering to women they were.
Yeah.
To her ending up getting involved in NXIVM.
Sometimes people just they want to believe in someone or something, and they want to relinquish their control because it makes them feel safe, I guess, or secure. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to presume what someone's motivations are for joining any type of organization like that, but it usually has something to do with wanting to relinquish your own responsibility to someone else so that they can tell you what to do, and you can basically get brownie points or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just want to have some kind of. It's almost like a letting go of control type thing, but then you actually sometimes you feel like you have control because of that, because you have some kind of like order in your life.
Yeah, it's weird. You let go of control, but then that itself becomes an aspect of it's very paradox kind of thing. But anyway, that was a nice little tangent we went on. So necessary detour, because that scene is such. It just comes out of nowhere. Yeah, and it's like, wow.
And I planned to like maybe mention the whole Allison Mack thing before I saw this movie, because I saw she was in the cast, and then I didn't expect the whole like, you know, paradox or whatever you want to call it between that scene and the reality, and it's just kind of weird. Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay, anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? Well, I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn it. Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
Yeah,
so
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
Yeah, no one can really. So,
yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast. But back to the movie, though. Okay, after
that scene,
after the Me Too scene, we have an instance where they finally in the other room, Ricky King and his buddies are like messing up the living room,
trashing the
place, and Wayne and Gordon were working on trying to rewire the stereo system so they could use the speaker as a microphone, which you can do, and use the speaker as a microphone so they could broadcast out to the kids so they could find them and basically save them. And so, and I will tell you this: Stuart Pankin is probably my favorite actor in the movie, who plays Gordon.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, he's just funny. as Wayne's brother, I just find him really funny in the movie. But he does this. They do the scene. Wayne's inside, and I actually was impressed with the set there too. The little inside of the stereo, all the circuitry and everything. It was actually pretty well made set, and that was an actual set as opposed to half the movie seems to be done on blue screen or green screen or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And but they rewire the thing, and Gordon talks to the kids through it and pretends to be God talking to the kids, and he tells Ricky King where he lives and all this other stuff, and the kids kind of freak out and go home. And then they realize, oh, wait, God sounds like Dad. Jenny and Mitch realize that.
Turns out your dad has been God
yeah, the whole time. And so the basically then we have the whole thing where the movie ties itself up. They get the parents all into little Hot Wheels and carry them upstairs. Hot Wheels.
Yeah, Hot Wheels. That was another.
They're made by Mattel, by the way.
Yeah.
And if Mattel would like to sponsor this podcast, you can contact me at alltooreal2podcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I doubt Mattel is listening.
They won't, but it's nice to call out.
Because I like Mattel. They make good toys like Barbie and Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels and Barbie.
And then some other stuff, too. Anyways,
Sorry for that. Sorry for sniffing right there into the microphone.
No, it's okay.
Very unattractive sound, but
there we go. There's some more unattractive sounds. Anyways, but yeah. So things kind of tie up, and they question whether they should make the parents big again because
that's
right. Like out of nowhere, it's like, okay, you guys realize you do need your parents, right?
I mean, like, you're 12 years old. It's like, and what, you're just gonna keep your parents shrunk for the rest of their lives? You fucking assholes! Like,
yeah, because they're like Adam's something like, I got a hamster cage I could keep them in. But So then the movie then ends with a scene where they let Adam go to baseball camp. They come back from baseball camp and they pull into the driveway, and Wayne's like, "Oh, I moved the Tiki Man to the backyard," and then they pull up to the house and quite possibly one of the worst special effects I've ever seen.
Blew up the Tiki Man.
Yeah,
it looks
he's huge.
Absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's just kind of photoshopped onto the shot.
For one
there.
thing, I'm pretty sure that the entire neighborhood would complain about that, and he'd have to remove it. No one wants to
usually,
see this.
I mean, we had a car in my yard one time that didn't run for a little while. We had not in the yard, but in the driveway. We had it for like a couple weeks in the driveway, and a neighbor called us on that. I'm pretty sure a neighbor would call you about a frickin' Tiki Man.
Wait, what? Your neighbor called because he had a car in your driveway?
Yeah, there was a car that wasn't running for like a month or two or something like that. Or
So
maybe,
what? You're not allowed to have your cars in your driveway? I don't get it.
I guess you have to move your car every so often legally. You
What?
can't have a car sitting in your driveway, and they're stupid
Why?
laws.
I mean, if you park it there in that same spot every day anyway, so what difference does it make?
I guess there's some stupid laws.
That is so stupid.
That if a car goes unmoved for a certain amount of time, it's different in every city.
Okay,
I guess,
so just
but,
put it in neutral and move it like 2 feet. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your.
But I guess you're supposed to drive your car every so often legally.
That's so stupid. It's your whatever.
Yeah, I know it.
It's-
But anyways,
whatever.
neighbors will complain about stuff like that, or like if your grass is overgrown a little bit. I
Right.
mean, you think somebody's going to complain about a freaking Tiki Man in the
huge
backyard?
ass statue. I mean, this is going on like.
It's at least a story or two taller than
Yeah,
the house.
it's like. Yeah, that was the end of the movie. That was.
Yeah.
I thought that was so stupid when I saw that.
and that's how we tied up the whole Honey, I Shrunk the Kids trilogy.
yeah.
Until they kind of rebooted as a TV series
Right.
with Peter Scolari a year or two later.
Right.
But so there were a couple of things I wanted to bring up some major like goofs within the movie.
Mhm.
I don't like to point things out like this, but actually I do. Why did I say I don't?
Because you don't.
Yeah. Anyways, there's a scene where after Mitch has fainted and Adam and Jenny are feeding him a banana, Jenny is speaking to Mitch, but her lips aren't moving correctly. If you watch it, it's the little bit of a dub that's messed up. At around 33 minutes into the movie, when Adam and Mitch are playing with their chili volcano, and it is getting ready to erupt,
That thing was like nasty.
yeah, there's a random hand of a crew member
Oh.
pushing the balloon back down into the volcano.
Oh wow.
Yeah, if you watch it, there's like, I actually remember seeing this, but there's this random hand that is not Mitch's and it's not Adam's, and because they're on the other side of the counter and the hand is coming from the other direction.
Oh wow. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's so fast you can barely notice it. But there's like another scene. There's I think it's when they're in the when they're inside. I think it's when they're inside the Roach Motel thing, because like they at one point the parents hide inside of a little roach trap to hide from the roach killing them.
Oh okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're inside there, and you can actually see the boom pole or the boom mic. So coming down into the shot, and then there's some other times where the background isn't lined up with the foreground and stuff in the blue screen shots.
I guess didn't have a great editing team or
I don't know what's going on. It happens. I mean, I've seen it happen.
Maybe they rushed it.
I've seen it in very, very expensive movies where you've seen a boom shot.
Wow.
But I remember one time there was some movie I saw a long time ago with Kevin Pollak. I can't remember what it was, but there was a boom mic visible in like probably about 4 or 5 different scenes, very visible in the movie. So things get released that have decent budgets, but I don't know. Anyways, but so yeah, I don't know. There's some other revealing mistakes and stuff in there, but it's just up to you to find them. But I recommend not watching this movie. How about you?
Good Easter egg. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would not recommend this. Really. I mean, If you want to watch it for whatever reason, fine. But
I mean, it's probably, like if you're watching some kids or you have kids or whatever and you need something to, kill time with, it's not like it's a horrible movie.
Like a kid-friendly movie, yeah. Something that's decent.
Kid-friendly movie with a good, like, Me Too thing in the middle of it. Yeah.
Well, that's important now, too, because kids are younger and younger now.
So maybe you should watch this movie.
Are engaging
with your kids.
in, like, courting rituals, which, we wouldn't even do until we were teenagers. Now they're doing, like, 10 or 11. So it is good, I guess, to watch something like this. I mean,
like I said, yeah, it's something good to watch with your kids, maybe. And, maybe not, by yourself when you're 40 years old.
No.
And, like I did. But,
well, you had to watch it for doing this podcast.
I know.
So... Can I go back to this car thing, though? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now. So what if you have, like, 2 or 3 cars, like a 2-3 car family, and for whatever reason, you just don't like to drive that one car. So you're saying that you're forced to have to drive that car to go to the grocery store one week, even if you like to drive the other car?
I don't know.
I mean,
there's some stupid laws. Like, I just know that we got in trouble and we had to move the car.
That's bullshit.
Because the car had stopped running. I mean, that's one thing.
That's the reason why.
But still, I mean, we ended up getting it fixed or something. I can't remember exactly what went down because this was like 20 years ago.
It's like, this is my grocery car.
Yeah.
Car. This is the car I like to go and shop at. So the law is telling me that at some point.
But I guess if it's outside, you have to. Like, I mean, obviously, if you have a car inside of a garage,
what
you
if you
don't
have
to
like a long ass driveway, like at my house, where it's not an eyesore because the car is parked way up close to the house?
Maybe that's the difference because I had a shorter driveway. I don't know.
I'm starting to think that maybe, but it's whatever. I think it's stupid.
I just think it was an asshole neighbor.
I think I know what neighbor you're talking about.
Yeah.
That piece of shit that used to
throw beer cans in my backyard.
Yeah, I should call him a piece of shit. But I don't
anyways, it's okay. It's all right.
I remember that guy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people like that. When I was growing up, people are just assholes. I mean, because
this is a weird turn for this podcast.
Yes. By the way, here's some word of wisdom, folks. People are just assholes.
Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah. So yeah.
Deal with it, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyways, I've always been trying to figure out a way to sign off these podcasts.
I always ruin it.
Maybe the new way to sign off is I just say people are assholes.
Assholes. Deal with
it. Deal with it. Don't be an asshole. All right. Anyways, be sure to check us out on cullenpark.com and all that good stuff. Yeah. Anything else, Matt?
Oh man, I actually have something to recommend this time, but I've totally forgot about it.
Well, no.
Oh well.
We can do that on the next one.
We'll do that next one, I guess.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I don't know if I want to do recommendations on this one.
Oh,
anyways,
okay.
So.
All right. So we have so many different podcasts going on.
Yeah. So
it's hard to kind of remember.
But yeah. So that's all for now, folks. Go out there and be good to each other.
Have a good. Yeah. Be good to each other. Have a great day and night. And remember, if you do not have a bubble machine, Mike is not going to your parties.
No.
It's not happening. So.
No. So if you would like to email me at all2real2podcast@gmail.com and invite me to a party, please, in the body of that email, let me know if you're going to have a bubble machine at your party, and maybe I'll show up. All right. Goodbye, folks.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.